who appears to be the only one who's positive, at least of the state of education today, this evening, to as well, even as we come back to the question that you had asked earlier on, I just want us to jog our brains sometime. And it's not even jogging, it's just remind ourselves of the times back when you could wait for your sister to finish up with a textbook. And when you get to, you know, all the way down. But this time around,
the first exercise was to rub off all
all this, if at all there was any, I mean, because there was always going to be something.
There was going to be
if it's in primary school and all that. So, but it was helpful that, you know, one textbook, you know, could plan, and this textbook can be used by 3, you know, of your children comfortably, which is contrary to what it is that we get to see today. And when we're talking about 5 years and then there's a change, a whole change of the textbooks, what necessitates this? Perhaps there are very many parents who would want to understand that. And if we're going to look at a new block of books, are they the best of shape in terms of the content, as Dr. Kiarie had raised a concern on?
Thank you very much. And let me start by once again reiterating that I would like to take an optimistic look at matters education. And I want to say that the year 2025 is a year of endless possibilities in the area of education. There is much more to be achieved. There is, you know, goodwill, there is passion, and hence, if we put all the heads together, certainly we are going to achieve. Having said that, let me also take a bit of a historical look at CBC. You know, we go back to 2009, you know, the report of Professor Douglas Odhiambo, which gave birth eventually to what we have today as CBC. There was a break of a couple of years, and come 2017, the implementation started in earnest. Of course, every new program must have its fair share of teething problems. There were temporary setbacks, and educationists, you know, cutting across the board, had to address those issues. But implementation happened, and come 2020 and 2021, just before the 2022 elections, you do remember that Kenyans kept on complaining about CBC. There were those who were saying that it should be abolished and we should revert to 844, among other things. But there were also sober-mindeds that were saying, no, CBC is good, it needs to be addressed, people need to sit together, look at the positive aspects of CBC, look at the areas that need to be addressed and see how best to address those areas. And it is because of these that in 2022, the president appointed the Presidential Working Party on Education Reforms, led by Professor Munavu. It collected and collated views of Kenyans from all the 47 counties. And we, as the Kenya Publishers Association, presented our memorandum. We also know that, you know, my colleagues here on this panel also presented their recommendations. Using the recommendations by the various bodies, using recommendations by teachers, parents, learners, and basically Kenyans, the Professor Munavu report was presented to the president. In the area of learning areas, which relates to books, there were recommendations that the books, the learning areas were so many, and hence they needed to be reduced. Reduction of those learning areas meant also reduction in the number of books to be used. And that is what led the Kenya Institute of Curriculum Development to do the process called rationalization, you know, picking learning areas and looking at the best way of addressing those learning areas and producing one book. So today, as we speak, the levels, grade 5, 6, 7, and 8, have got areas that have been rationalized. And that is what some people are saying, that the books which were being used last year and last year but one have been completely discarded, and hence we are waiting for new books, which is not the case. The case is that those books are still very much useful. They should be used even as the process of rationalization is being completed. Because as we speak today, the KICD is going through the rationalized books as done by the various publishers, correcting them, enhancing their quality, and come the end of January, those for grade 5 and grade 6 will be out and available on the market. And come the end of February, the ones for grade 7 and 8 will be available on the market. In the meantime, the books which were used last year but one, can continue to be used because the content is the same. What has been reduced is the width in terms of the number of learning areas and hence the number of books. And that is why I'm saying...
I have a question on that, if
yes,
you may.
Please.
And I think it's something you raised as well. All these changes are happening, and then